Hi everyone, thank you for joining April's CleverTouch Education Webinar. So today I'm going to take you through the different features of our CleverTouch interactive displays, all the up-to-date features, and I'm going to take you through different apps that are built into our display. One of them being our CleverShare wireless screen sharing app, another one being our Links whiteboard, and also through some settings and some app stores that we get with our display. So what I currently have open on the screen is called CleverLive. So CleverLive is an app made by Clevertouch. It will allow you to push out different welcome messages up to the screen, announcements, and so on. So CleverLive comes in as a built-in app already on your Clevertouch display. All you need to do is just create a free CleverLive account and connect your display up to that account, and you're able to push out different signage and different messages from your own device up to your Clevertouch interactive display. Now, if you look on our channel, we also have some videos on how to use CleverLive, how to sign up for CleverLive and so on, so you can have a look for that on our channel. Now, once I want to use the screen and I want to exit out of CleverLive, I can tap anywhere on the screen, and this is going to take me to the home page of my CleverTouch screen itself. Now, we have different home pages that are available on CleverTouch, which one of them looks like this, where we have our apps scattered all over the middle of our screen, and then we can swipe from the middle of the screen up to get access to additional apps that are downloaded on our CleverTouch. We also have a different background available, which is called our traditional CleverTouch background, which would come in with most of our CleverTouch displays, which would be like a blue background where we have side arrows and a bottom arrow as well. This time I'm just going to work on this background here, as it's more of a newer background that more devices are going to be leaning towards or using now. First feature I want to go through is our screen sharing. So when we come to the room or our classroom and we want to screen share our device, a laptop, up to the display, the first step we do is, well, there's a few different ways on how to do it first before we go into our steps. The first way is with a wire. So we're able to do our wired screen sharing. Now, to see all the options for wired screen sharing, we can tap on the little pencil icon, and we can tap on the HDMI icon, and this is going to bring up our menu, which will allow us to adjust the brightness, the volume of the display, and it will also allow us to choose a certain connection like a HDMI, DisplayPort, Type-C connection, and so on. What that means is when we walk into that room, let's say we want to share via HDMI cable, we're able to plug a HDMI cable into the front, back right side of the display, or a Type-C display, or a Type-C cable, and afterwards we're able to plug that cable into our laptop. Now we have different options for different cables. As you can see, we have HDMI there, we have DisplayPort, and we have Type-C. Now it's very important to know which cable gives you what features essentially. So with HDMI, we will receive audio and visual from the laptop to the screen, which means when we plug in that HDMI cable, we will get an audio and visual that's coming from the laptop up to the screen, but we won't have touch between the laptop and the screen itself, so we won't be able to use our laptop directly from the CleverTouch screen. Now, to get that feature to have that two-way touch, we would receive this cable with a square end and with a USB end with our CleverTouch display itself. Now, if we plug this cable in while we're using a HDMI cable, so if we plug in the square cable into our display and we plug in the USB cable into our laptop, our desktop, and so on, this will give us two-way touch between the laptop and the CleverTouch when using a HDMI connection. Another one of the connections that we have on there is Type-C. So Type-C is the connection that I usually advise people to go for. Type-C will give you audio and visual, which means they will show you the visual and the audio coming from the laptop to the screen. And it will also give you two-way touch between the laptop and the screen. So what that means is you'll be able to control the laptop directly from the screen with that single cable. You won't need to plug an additional cable into it. Now, another great feature about it with Type-C is that it will actually charge your laptop while you're presenting on the screen. So that way you don't need to have any additional cables for charging your device as well. Now again, to navigate between the Android side of our CleverTouch, because the CleverTouch display itself has Android built in, to navigate between that and any of the cable options, we tap on the pencil icon, we tap on the HDMI icon. This is going to bring up this menu with different HDMI options, Type-C options, and we're able to tap on them to navigate around them essentially then afterwards. So that's our cable options there. Now we also have an option for wireless screencasting too. Now wireless screencasting is going to go through an app called CleverShare. Now I have CleverShare downloaded here on my device, so I just need to wait for it to boot up. But essentially CleverShare will allow me to wirelessly screencast through my network. So what that means is I need my CleverTouch display to be connected to the same network or the same Wi-Fi as my own device is connected to. So to see which Wi-Fi or which network my CleverTouch display is connected to, I can tap on the 6-digit code along the top. I can tap on view the main interface, and this is going to show me above my first 2 digits that my CleverTouch display is connected to Avio Wi-Fi. So I want to make sure I'm connected to that same Wi-Fi on my own laptop. Afterwards, I can download the CleverShare app and I can type in the 6-digit code from the screen into my own device. Afterwards, I can see I have CleverShare. So I get 2 options after I type the 6-digit code in. The first option is called Screen Share, which will allow me to screen share my laptop up to the screen. So as you can see, I'm currently able to see whatever's happening on my laptop directly to the CleverTouch display itself. Now the useful feature about it is if the users in the room have CleverShare downloaded, we're actually able to share up to 30 devices to the screen at the same time now. Which means that if we have multiple devices, it will make us small boxes with all the different devices that are being shared up to the display. Now I get two-way touch between the laptop and the screen, so I can actually leave my laptop off to the side and I can use it directly from the CleverTouch screen itself. At the bottom left side, we have an arrow. This gives us a few different features. The first feature is this little red shutdown icon, which allows me to stop the screen sharing coming from the laptop to the screen. Next to that, I have a window with an arrow. This is quite useful because it will bring my CleverShare connection into a smaller window that I'm able to actually move around the screen. That will allow me to multitask. So let's say I want to have my whiteboard open on the screen and I also want to keep my screen sharing from my laptop into a smaller window. I'm able to do so using that option. I can press the same icon then to full screen afterwards. Next to that, we have a little keyboard icon. This is going to bring in an on-screen keyboard on my device. So that stops me from having to walk back to my device, type on it using the keyboard. This way I can just type directly from the CleverTouch board itself into my search bar. And the last feature is a little sound icon. This allows me to mute or unmute the sound coming from, or the audio coming from the laptop up to the screen. Now once I'm done using CleverShare, I can tap on the little red icon and that's stopping my CleverShare connection. Another feature inside CleverShare is called Desktop Sync. Now, Desktop Sync, it will come in as an option when we type that 6-digit code into our CleverShare app. Desktop Sync will allow me to essentially see the CleverTouch screen on my own device. So as you can see, I'm nowhere near the screen now. I'm not touching the screen, and I can actually control the screen directly from my own device, okay? So I can see the CleverTouch display, and I can also control it from my own laptop. So that's the different features that we have with CleverShare. To download CleverShare, you can find it on your App Store on your mobile device, tablet. You can find it on the, you can download it on your laptop or your computer just by looking up CleverShare download and downloading it directly from the CleverTouch website. It's all for free to download and to use it as well, so just keep that in mind. So that was our wireless and our wired screencasting. So both of the options are quite straightforward. We are able to bring our own device in with us and we're able to use it to do our screen sharing from it. And to go into some of the other features here on the Android side of the display that we're able to use. As you can see, we have our time at the top side. We have a search bar here. This will allow us to search on our browser. So if we want to look anything up, we're able to do so just by tapping on that search bar. Under that, there's an option that says Links Whiteboard. So this is a whiteboard app made by CleverTouch, okay? Now I do need an update, but this is an app made by CleverTouch. So the Links Whiteboard is free to use. It comes built into your CleverTouch screen. You're able to download it on your device, whether it's a phone, whether it's a laptop, and so on, from the App Store that's on that device. So you're able to make different lessons at home using the Links Whiteboard, and you're able to use them or push them out to the CleverTouch display then when you are in class. As you can see, I'm currently signed out. It gives me an option to sign it in at the bottom. I already have an account made. Now, if you don't have an account made, you can sign in through your Google or your Microsoft, which will bring up your Google Drive or your Microsoft OneDrive files up to the display itself. There's a few different ways of signing in. I'm going to go through the QR code option. Now, making an account is free as well, so you can easily just make a free account and you can connect that to your Google Drive or your OneDrive. So I went in for the QR code option. This essentially allows me to sign in through my device. That way, the students in the room won't be able to see my email and my password or my login details for that Links Whiteboard account. So I'm just signed in through my phone now. It's telling me sign in successful. So I can tap on the X option at the top left side of the screen. And as you can see, my files are brought into my Links whiteboard for me now. Now there's an option there for new, which will allow me to open up a new whiteboard file. So think of it as your book. You're going to have different pages and you're able to create different pages and do different work on those pages as well. So at the bottom left side, we have 1/1. So these are the pages that we have made for that Links whiteboard. I can tap on the add page option to create multiple pages onto it as well, and to navigate around those pages too. Along the bottom middle of the screen, we have a few different features. So we have a finger pointer tool, and as you can see, that tool is currently selected because there's a line under that tool. So whenever any of these tools are selected, there's going to be like a blue line under. So the finger pointer tool essentially allows me to, it's like my cursor that allows me to select different features on the screen, move them around, and resize them as well. Next to that, there's a little pencil icon. The pencil icon will give me access to some of the features like my pens. So essentially, there's different types of pens that we're able to bring into it. So I currently have an ink pen selected. I'm able to tap on the horizontal line menu here, and I'm able to resize that pen, or I'm able to change the color of that pen by tapping on the little square box there as well. Afterwards, I'm able to start annotating on the screen. Now keep in mind your Clevertouch screen has, depending on the model, on average about 40 points of touch, which means that you can have up to 40 fingers using the screen at the same time, and it will recognize all the touch points on the screen. Now next to our ink pen, we have a highlighter. The highlighter will allow us to highlight different features on the screen too. If I tap on the highlighter option, we also get an option for a laser pen. The laser pen will disappear after a few seconds on the screen, so essentially allows us to point something out on the screen itself. There's a math option as well. So this comes with Links Pro. This will allow us to type in different equations on the screen. The Links whiteboard will recognize the equation, and we're able to tap on the answer and reveal the answer to that room. Then we have text and shapes recognition tool. It will recognize my shapes and it will recognize my text on the screen as well. It will turn my triangle into a perfect triangle and my text into a font as well. In here we get some options for a rainbow pen. This will change the color of that pen anytime you lift your finger or your pen off the screen. It also gives us an option for an animated rainbow, which is constantly going to change the color of that pen on the screen. There's some lines as well that we're able to use and draw on the screen inside those options too. So that's the different options that we get for our pens. Now we also get this T letter. The T letter will allow me to type on the screen using my keyboard. So I selected my T letter, I tapped on the screen afterwards, and I'm able to use my keyboard on the screen. I'm able to resize that writing, and I'm able to move it around the screen as well. Next to that, I have a little paintball. The paintball will give me access to different colors. I'm able to select and change the color of my background or a color of different letters on the screen as well. Now, if I tap on the plus icon gives me access to a good few features that are able to make your teaching a little bit easier as well. So there's an option for media. This will allow me to bring in different photos, GIFs, and videos from different online sources. So what I mean by that is I have photo and I have Google here. So I'm able to search up different photos from Google and bring them directly onto our whiteboard. So let's say in our class, we're learning about the map of Europe. So we can bring in a map of Europe. We can find a certain picture that we like, and if we don't like any of these pictures, we can tap on that arrow next to our number 1 to go to a new page of different options of our pictures. So afterwards, we can drag and drop a certain picture of a map of Europe on the screen. We can use one of our pens to draw, highlight, and so on over that map of Europe. So it's a very useful way of bringing in resources without having to go into your browser, bringing in resources directly onto that whiteboard. Now, if I tap on that Google icon again, it will allow me to bring in different GIFs, and it will also allow me to bring in different YouTube videos. Now, bear in mind, all of this is safe search and all the YouTube videos are cleared of ads before they're shown on the screen. So if we want to watch any YouTube videos, we're able to tap on them, drag them, and play them on the screen itself. It won't show any ads before, during, or after that YouTube video. I'm just going over to our next page just to make sure we have enough space there. So that was our media. We also have an option for content. This will allow me to bring in some backgrounds, some features for different subjects. So for example, I can tap on backgrounds, I can tap on line paper, and I can drag and drop different backgrounds on the screen. So as you can see, I have a line paper background. Now, we can tap on this little icon in the middle that has a blue square and an arrow, and I'm able to actually resize that background on the screen as well. Afterwards, I'm able to grab one of my pens and start annotating in different places in that background. If I want to get rid of that background, there's an option here at the top that says backgrounds. I can use this transparent tool to get rid of those lines on the screen. We also have different graphs, to-do lists, and so on that we can drag and drop on our whiteboard too. Now we also get different options for different subjects. I'm just going to go into math for this example here. So we can drag and drop different rulers, for example, in centimeters on our screen. We can resize it and move it around, and we can measure and stamp different lines on the screen then afterwards as well. We also have some angle measuring tools where we can measure different angles on the screen, move them around, and so on. So that's our different tools that we get already that's locally saved when we download, or that's locally saved into our Clevertouch display when we go into the links whiteboard. Now going back into our plus icon, we have an option for shapes. So here we can bring in different shapes like our circle onto the screen and so on. We can also change the color of them if we wish to do so. We also get access to an AI assistant that will create different lessons for us depending on the title, audience, probably age, or different level of that audience, or different kind of a level of primary, secondary school, and so on. And then we can put in a description for it as well, and it can generate presentation for us through the Links Whiteboard AI features. We have a page link option. This will allow me to link a certain page to a current page. So let's say I want to link page number 2 to number 8. That will allow me to go quickly from page number 8 to page number 2. That's what the page link option would be used for. Then we have a table here, so I can create, for example, a 5x5 table, move it around the screen and resize it as well. And lastly, we have a browse option. I'm able to browse files. So here I get access to my Google Drive. You're also able to connect your OneDrive. I personally just use Google Drive for work. So we can tap on our Google Drive option. And here we can bring in any sort of file into our links whiteboard. So in this instance, I'm just going to bring in a PDF file. So this is a file for my Impact and Max 2 brochure that I'm actually using at the moment, but this display has gone to end of life. So I can actually resize that brochure around, move it around, and I can switch through different pages of that brochure as well. Afterwards, I can grab one of my pens and I can annotate over that brochure, circle different things, and so on. So that's very useful. It allows us to essentially bring in content that we've already used before onto our links whiteboard. That's our browse option there. Now we have an undo and a redo feature at the bottom right side of the display as well. At the bottom left side, we have a 3-line menu. So the 3-line menu will allow us to save the whiteboard work that we've done or to share it to people in the room. Now first, if we want to share it to people in the room, there's an option that says share and print, which essentially allows us to share that work or to print that work if we wish to print it as well. Now if I tap on share, it will export that whiteboard and it will actually bring it into a QR code that the people in that room are able to scan, and they'll be able to save that onto their own device. Now to save that file onto your either local storage of the display or your cloud drive, we tap on the three-line menu. We can tap on Save As. This will allow me to save it to my Google Drive or to my documents that are stored locally on the display itself. So I'm just going to save it to my Google Drive in this instance. I can name the file by tapping on that empty line, and I can choose whether I want to save that file as a links file or as a PDF file. If I save that file as a links file, I will be able to edit that file again. I'll be able to resize different items and so on. If I save it as a PDF file, it's an embedded file afterwards, so I won't be able to work on it anymore. Afterwards, I can tap on save, and I can save that file then onto my drive then afterwards. So that was our links whiteboard. Once again, you're able to download that for free on your own desktop, tablet, phone, and so on. Now we have an option for a Finder. Finder would be access to the local storage of the display itself. So if you want to navigate and find local storage of your display, this is where you will be able to find that. We can also connect our cloud drive directly to the display itself, so that way we can navigate around different files through our Finder there too. So for example, I have my own Google Drive here, so I'm able to navigate around different video, PowerPoint, PDF files from my Google Drive, double tap on them and open them as well. Now on the side here, I get an access to a little pencil icon. Now that pencil icon will always be on the side of your CleverTouch. It's essentially like a navigation bar. So I'm going to take you through different features of that pencil icon. First feature is our lock icon or our lock button. This will allow me to lock the CleverTouch screen if I have a password set on the screen. Under that, we have a back arrow. This will allow me to go back out of different pages. Under that, we have a home icon. This will allow me to go back to the home screen of my CleverTouch. Under that, we have a HDMI icon. This is going to bring up a menu with my different connections here that I'm able to choose and switch in between, and it will let me adjust the brightness or the sound or the volume of the display itself. Under that, I have a whiteboard icon with a pencil. That's going to take me to the links whiteboard on my screen. Under that, I have two windows together. That's going to show me the different apps that are currently running in that black background. I'm able to split screen as well, depending on the model of the CleverTouch that I have. Under that, I have a magnifying glass with a plus sign. This will allow me to zoom into different parts of the screen. Under that, I have a pencil icon. This will allow me to write over any screen. So let's say we have a browser open and we quickly want to write over it. That's what the pencil icon would be used for. Now finally, under that, we have a snipping tool. That's going to allow me to snip different parts of the screen. And I can tap on the insert option to insert that snip into my whiteboard if I wish to do so. So that's the different features that we have inside our pencil icon. Now again, depending on which model of the CleverTouch screen you have, you're either going to have an access to a CleverLive store or you're going to have an access to a Google Play Store. If I go into the CleverLive store, I will get access to a few different hundreds of apps, whether it's games, different browsers, and so on. I'm able to search for different apps at the top right side, and I'm able to navigate around the different downloaded apps through here as well. With the Google Play Store, you will need to sign into your Google account to be able to download different apps from the Google Play Store itself. So just keep that in mind. If I swipe from the middle up, I get access to all the different apps that I have downloaded on that screen itself. The last thing I just want to take you through is on how we can update our display, because I would encourage everyone that's currently watching this webinar or that's watching a recording of the webinar to please check for any updates that are due on their display. Now to do that, we're going to navigate to the settings of our display itself. At the bottom left side, our check for updates will, depend on the model, usually be in our system or in our about settings. On this display, it's in my system settings. As you can see, there's an option that says system update. And here I can check for any updates that are due on my CleverTouch display. As you can see, my display is currently running on the newest version. If your display needs an update, it will need to download an update first. After that update is downloaded, it will need to install it, which essentially afterwards applies that update to the screen itself. I would highly advise everyone to update their display to make sure you get all the latest feature for the model of the CleverTouch that you have. I'm just going to go to our input and output settings quickly before we finish up. To our system settings again quickly before we finish up. There's an option here that says startup and shutdown. This will essentially allow you to automatically get your Clevertouch screen to turn on and turn off at a certain time, Monday to Friday, and so on. So as you can see, there's a boot task and there's an off task. So I currently have an off task for my Clevertouch screen to go off at 5 p.m. Monday to Friday, which means that the screen itself isn't automatically turning on every day. It's just in case I forget to turn off the screen before I leave the office, it will actually turn off automatically on its own. You can have a boot task for the screen to automatically turn on before you walk into that classroom, so it's ready for you and it's already turned on before you walk into the room. So you can add a boot task which turns it on, and you can add an off task which turns it off at a certain time and the certain dates, and the certain days that you select on the screen itself. So that was the webinar. For any questions, feel free to email us on sales@avio.ie or give us a call on 01 813 5588. Thank you very much.